Welcome to Hey Guess What? In today's video, we're going to learn about the serious conflict happening right now between Russia and the Ukraine.
On Monday, February 22nd, 2022, Russian President Vladimir Putin told his troops to march into regions of eastern Ukraine.
Russia called this a peacekeeping mission.
And this came shortly after Putin signed orders acknowledging the independence of Moscow-backed territories.
These signed orders were in regards to two territories in the Donbas region of eastern Ukraine, where they are recognized as independent states from Ukraine.
Putin guaranteed their protection with Russian troops.
They are the Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic.
So you may be asking, why did this attack begin?
The main reason looks like it is due to sanctions from several countries.
A sanction is a penalty charged by one country against another.
They are used to prevent a country from acting aggressively or breaking international laws that other countries must also follow.
Sanctions are usually developed to damage a country's economy or even the finances of certain people, including leaders or politicians.
Sanctions are some of the toughest steps taken before actually going to war.
There are several countries that have already put sanctions on Russia.
Some of these sanctions against Russia are freezing of all money from 5 banks as well as a few Russian billionaires.
And another 27 people in Russia are unable to access any of their funds from European Union or EU banks, and have banned trading between EU and the two regions we mentioned earlier.
And the United States has sanctioned 5 important Russian individuals involving Russia's national debt, as well as certain deals. Germany has suspended the certification of the 750-mile-long pipeline called the Nord Stream 2.
This pipeline connects Russia to Germany.
This pipeline would have been able to deliver billions of gallons of gas per year worth almost $15 billion to Russia.
And even with all of these sanctions, there are even more countries still giving Russia even more sanctions.
So now, let's talk a little more about the history between Ukraine and Russia.
On August 24th in 1991, Ukraine announced its independence from Russia.
This was to get better relations with the West and become their own democracy.
And since Ukraine's independence, 2 revolutions occurred in the Ukraine. One was in 2005 and the other in 2014.
Each time, protesters rejected Russian rule and tried to join the European Union as well as NATO, which is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
In 2014, Viktor Yanukovych, the Ukrainian president at the time, denied an agreement with the EU that preferred closer relationships with Russia, and that decision led to his removal from office.
Russia responded by taking over Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula, where rebels that lived in Ukraine actually preferred Russian rule and law.
Ukraine and the West blamed Russia for sending troops and weapons to these rebels, but Russia said these people were actually volunteers.
Almost 14,000 people died during these battles in eastern Ukraine.
Then, in 2015, a peace agreement was created with help from France and Germany.
This agreement was to help prevent any large violent battles, but there has continued to be fighting in the region.
And now, since 2021, there have been more and more violations by both Ukraine and Russia to that peace agreement.
Russia has rejected a meeting with Ukraine, France, and Germany, saying it's useless.
Russia has also blamed the United States and its NATO supporters for equipping Ukraine with weapons and holding joint training drills.
Putin believes this will inspire Ukraine to try to regain the rebel-held areas by force.
Putin believes Russians and Ukrainians are one people.
Russia argues that Ukraine has been given important historical Russian lands during Soviet times.
Putin has also asked for legal guarantees with the United States and its allies that bans NATO from moving any further east.
Putin believes by moving further east will threaten Russian protection of its western borders.
And since this time, President Biden and the Pentagon have about 8,500 US-based troops on alert for potential deployment.
But this would only happen if the NATO alliance decides to activate the NATO Response Force.
The NATO Response Force is a global force with about 40,000 troops.
NATO believes that Putin's demands to block Ukraine from joining NATO are unacceptable.
And this is why NATO is taking the required actions to protect and defend their allies.
Many people believe that Putin doesn't fear NATO, but instead the possibility for Ukraine to gain full democratic independence from Russia's law and rules.
Right now, it is a very critical time in our world's history, and we are all hoping for a quick and safe resolution to the Russian-Ukraine conflict.
Well, hey, guess what? Now we all know a little bit more about what's going on between Ukraine and Russia.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to click that thumbs up button. It really helps out our channel.
It sure does.
Make sure you subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.